All right, good afternoon, everyone. All right, I'm Mr. Reese. I'm a Achievement Behavior Support Specialist here at Aspire, as well as the Safety Specialist here. I'm also part of the Crisis Team and Safety Team. And we have,
Welcome, everybody. My name is Shandis Campbell. I'm the school counselor here. Hello.
and so we just want to welcome you all to this portion of the Crisis Prevention and Awareness Day here at Aspire. Mainly, we want to bring about awareness to our parents on how to assist your children who are, some of them and many of them are under pressure, not just peer pressure, but the pressures of life, dealing with depression, and even when it comes to self-harm and suicide and trauma. And so we're hoping that through our panel discussion and our panelists that are here today, we had an awesome first session at 9 a.m. So now you all can be part of this next session. And so we're going to get ready to get started. And so our first panelist today that we want to introduce you to is Miss Ashley Robinson. She's on the other side right here from this morning. And so she's part of one of the therapists at the Crisis Center. And so we want to go ahead and welcome her here at this time. Let's go ahead and have her. She's going to introduce, each one of them going to introduce themselves, talk a little bit about what they do as far as with our young people. So let's clap it up for her at this time.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ashley Robinson. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I'm also the program director at the Crisis Center. I've been doing therapy for about 6 years, working with children, adolescents, and families. And right now, my role is the program director of the Crisis Center, the A House. We provide emergency shelter and residential treatment to youth ages 10 to 17. So a lot of our kiddos are child wards of the state, juvenile probation children, and any child that has run away from home. We act as a safe place and we are safely home. So a child that has run away and they're brought in by police officers, or they can come there themselves. And we provide emergency shelter for them, counseling services in order to get them back home as safely as possible. Thank you.
Stand up. Sorry. Okay, we're gonna have Mrs. Shavonda Goffin, my sister. She's a mental health therapist and life coach as well. Please welcome her.
Hello, everyone. As she said, I'm a mental health therapist as well as a life coach, as well as I own Children of Promise Daycare. I deal with children all day, every day, and I am here to answer any questions to assist parents and children. I work with families, work with women, I work with kids, any area that I can help in, I'm here to help.
All right, last but not least, our panelists today. Had a chance to watch her grow up a little bit. But no, she's the founder of I Am Them, a youth activist as well as motivational speaker. And please welcome Miss Aaliyah Stewart.
All right. First, giving honor to God. My name is Aaliyah Stewart. I'm the founder of the ASW Foundation, which is a nonprofit I started at 14 years old. I'm 23 now. I'm a youth advocate, mostly for students with IEPs. I work frequently here in the city of Gary and combining cities in this area. I travel nationally to speak, and we have a youth center located on 13th and Grant. We have a summer program every summer, and we're here just really to focus on children and parents and help them to be believers.
So we're going to go ahead and open up this discussion. And so one of the first questions I want to present is what are some of the pressures you see with our youth in your profession? And so I'm going to start off with Ms. Robinson.
Some of the pressures that I have noticed or witnessed with our youth, and especially those at the Crisis Center, is the pressures of trying to have that belonging and finding a home, being understood by the adults in their lives. Again, I work with a lot of kiddos that's in Department of Child Services, so they've been removed from their home, or they have juvenile probation cases in which they are removed from their home for whatever different reasons they have been removed. And a lot of the times when they come in, their explanations of why they're there, why they've been displaced, is the lack of understanding and that sense of belonging. I get a lot of kiddos that state people just don't want them. They don't accept them. Their behaviors, I'm a bad person. So kind of trying to navigate what people want from them, but also being true and authentic to themselves has been a major pressure that I've noticed with the kids that I've worked with.
Can you give us a little background for those that may not know what is the Crisis Center?
The Crisis Center is an emergency shelter located in Miller. So what we do at the Crisis Center is children who have been removed. I get a lot of phone calls in the middle of the night from DCS like, hey, Ms. Robinson, do you have placement? Do you have any beds for a kid? I just had a kid removed, or the parents said they have to go, they're not keeping them. So we have the ability to hold 40 youth, 20 beds on the girls' side, 20 beds on the boys' side. We have therapists in the facility. We have nurses there, and what we do is we provide that emergency shelter. With our residential program, we provide residential treatment where we're working with the older youth. So those are those kids that are 15, 16, 17. They've had a rough patch. They can't really get placed in a secure house due to whatever reasons they can't get placed. So we work with them on learning independent living skills. So they're getting a job. They're doing my interviews. They're getting their therapeutic treatment. They're working on getting their GED or their high school diploma, so that when they turn 18 and they age out, they have all the tools that they need to be a productive member of society, but also take care of themselves.
All right, Ms. Goff, same thing.
Precious.
Yes.
The pressures. Some of the pressures that I've noticed, of course, is trying to keep up with social media, trying to keep up with peers, with dressing, with thought processes, with just trying to, when you're different and you want to be like everybody else, you have a hard time. And those pressures make you feel like you have to be like everybody else. I gotta dress like everybody else. I gotta talk like everybody else. I gotta be like everybody else. And a lot of times that puts a lot of pressure. And they don't know how, a lot of times kids don't know how to express that. And being different, whether you know it or not, is cool. It's cool to be different. But most times your peers are like, you gotta be like me, you gotta walk like me, you gotta talk like me, you gotta have Jordans like me, you gotta have the latest clothes, your hair gotta be like this. It's pressure to be somebody else when you really just wanna be yourself.
Now, one of the things that I know this morning, this kind of opened up a whole box, but I kind of want to get straight to the really nitty gritty on some things. Self-harm and suicide has really plagued us. I could say here and as well as the schools nationwide. And I believe, or not believe, I can see it's on the rise. What are some of the advices that you would give to our parents in regards to self-harm and suicide? So I want to start off with you, Ms. Stewart, and then we're going to go ahead and start all over with Ms. Robinson.
I would say the reality of self-harm and suicide, Ms. Robinson touched on it earlier, is the difference. I think that with a lot of children, especially with parents, like how we said earlier, we don't want to make it as if the parents don't know what they're doing. But parents need help as well. The trauma that parents have been through as children, and kind of understand what kids are going through now. This generation is definitely different in that aspect. Suicide is an all-time high. Gun violence is at an all-time high. But kids really don't know how to decipher their emotions in certain ways. So I commend you parents for being here really and learning ways to help your child. I think that with suicide, especially in the African-American minority communities, Latino, Hispanic, a lot of kids don't know how to really tap into their self-identity. And so that's the number one trigger, I think, for a lot of kids. They're triggered by society. They're triggered, not even really trying to be somebody else, but really finding out who they are and tapping into their angle of what they can be in a sense. A lot of the kids that we work with, I can say, they come to us and they really just want to be defined, but they don't know what they want to be defined by. When you really don't know who you are, whose you are, where you belong, in the aspect of cutting yourself, like you said earlier, people cut themselves because they want to feel something. Some kids are so numb, especially when we deal with children that have been through things, either domestic violence in the home, dad molested them, or they've been taken from their parents, mom selling them for drugs, things like that. If they hurt themselves, they're doing it because they want to feel something. It's something that they've never felt before. They want to feel the love, or they want a parent to care. So some kids, you have them do it for attention. Some you have do it because they really are seeking help. And sometimes we don't pay attention to it because it's not the norm. It's not normal for parents. Back in the day, people really didn't do suicide, or they didn't really kill themselves. They played Russian roulette and stuff like that. But right now, mental health is being tested for everybody. It's a real conversation. And a lot of people are afraid to tap into knowing, hey, my child has a mental issue. How can I help them?
Ms. Robinson.
So just the explanation with suicide and self-harming, because I think a lot of the time parents, they panic. My kid is cutting themselves, they want to die, or, so it's two totally different things. When you have someone that's self-harming, that's more of a behavior, a coping skill. Self-harmers can have the tendencies to have suicidal ideations, but they're not doing it to kill themselves. They're doing it as a release or as a coping skill. So I think educating and not to panic is one of the bigger things, right? Educating yourself, so what self-harming looks like, what the cuts look like, are they to the side or are they up and down? Being aware when you see that your kid has that, opening up the discussion to say, hey, what's going on, giving that understanding. Because I think a big thing that we missed from earlier today was that big religious component. And I think when kids get to the point to where they're self-harming or they're having suicidal ideations, that's because they've hit that hopeless point. There's no hope for the future. Things are all bad. It can't get better. There's nothing I can do to change this. It's kind of like that black or white thinking. I need to die because I can't deal with everything that's going on. It's just too much. I have no way out. So I think instilling that hope, and what one kid hope looks like is different for another kid. So individually getting to know your child and what needs they need to feel like they have hope for the future. I always advise my parents, talk to your kid, and sometimes just like, what's wrong with you? Kind of like, what's going on? What is your day like? What makes you want to live, right? Because some of them, they have these thoughts, but they haven't acted on it. So what's keeping you here? What's good? What do you want to be when you get older? How do you want to live? What do you envision like? If life is so bad now, what's making it bad? And how can we make it better? Giving those talking points. Now, I got my mom's or my dad's attention. You hear me. Now, are you going to get upset? Understanding that it's not personal. It's not nothing that a parent has done, or it may be circumstances, trauma, or whatever the case that brings them there. But just opening it up and have that discussion. Now I have hope because you hear me. You're trying to figure me out. You're not judging me. So kind of instilling some of that conversation and that support helps them to be hopeful. When you get somebody that's hopeful, now we cooking with gas, and we can kind of figure out how to move past that, how to gain more coping skills, how to live, how to give them a chance to live.
Mrs. Goff.
They touched on it all. I guess to add to that, for parents is when they say something to you about it, they mention about it, believe them. That's the biggest thing. A lot of times I think as parents, we kind of brush off some of the things that our kids say because you're going to be all right. You're going to make it through. You all right. When they say it, believe them and understand that it is not your particular fault. Don't blame you. Don't get upset with them. Don't get mad with them. Let's find out what's going on, what's causing them to feel this way. Sometimes, just as they both said, having conversation with them makes the difference. Not just asking them, are you okay? but going further, asking other questions. So who is your friend? You know, what did y'all do? If they went out, what did they do? You want to know what's going on with them. Check their rooms. I know some of you all check the phones. You could check the phones too. But have the conversation, have open conversation with them. That opens the door so they can feel comfortable to come to you and say, hey, this is what I'm feeling today. Today, I'm not really feeling it, and I feel like I can't make it. When you have that type of conversation, when your child can come to you, or you have someone else that you trust that they can go to and talk to, that also helps too.
So we brought you all in here today, and one of the things that was highlighted, and I want to kind of dovetail on and bring it before the crowd, which was a lot of times the children don't want to talk to us as parents. And I find in talking to the children, the parent will get upset that the child did not talk to the parent. But the child is still experiencing the pressure, but some of the pressure is relieved because there was either not necessarily always a disconnect, but for whatever reason, they just didn't talk to the parent, but they talked to someone else. Can you all kind of talk about that a little bit about, because I know there's a parent thinking like, for my child, all this is new to me. We talk about, I do this, I pay the rent, I put clothes on their back, I feed them, I've been there for them when they mom wasn't there, when they daddy wasn't there, I was there, but yet the child is not opening up. So, what's your thoughts, Ms. Stewart?
I would say for parents, think about it like, be the person that you wanted someone to be for you when you were younger. When you were younger, you didn't want to talk to your parents. You didn't want to have, I think now this generation, when it got to a certain point, earlier we touched on parents can't be their children's friend. I don't believe in it. I believe at some point you have to be, like Ashley said, a confidant. You have to create some balance, because I'm going to need you to be my parent, but when I get 18, I'm going to still need you to be my parent, but I'm also need you to be my friend, because I might go through different things. I think that the 12-year-old of 2005 is not the 12-year-old of 2024. So the times have changed and it's shifted, right? The times have changed and it's shifted. So the conversations are a little different. What we used to talk about at 14 and 15, you now have to have those conversations at 11 and 12, right? So I think that having an open mind to somebody else talking to your child, not getting in your business or not having an outside source of trying to tell you what to do with your child, but trying to figure out how can your child have a long-term issue date in life. How can they have longevity? Because if you're not creating that balance where, yeah, they can go talk to this person, but they don't want to talk to me. I think that with parents, they feel like because they're the parent, you're superior, so I'm supposed to talk to you. Not understanding that sometimes it takes for somebody else on the outside to come in and open that door and sometimes mediate the conversation. Hey, I did this, ... right? 5th grade, I was 10, I started my menstrual. Oh my God, I couldn't call my mom and tell her that. Why not though? It's something regular. But she had instilled a fear in me of, oh my gosh, like these are certain things that, I wasn't comfortable. So it took for the nurse to call, a middle person for me to be able to be comfortable, like, hey, this is what happened. And sometimes with children and parents, there's no in between. And so parents feel like, well, you telling my business. Well, would you rather me tell your business or kill myself because I'm stressed out? Because I can't really talk to you about what I want to talk to you about. Or parents will reel you in and you'll talk about it, then they're mad. How does that work? So finding that thin line to where, hey, I want my child to talk to this therapist. 23, I don't have any children. But with the kids that I work with, I see what talking to what a third party person means to them. They still love their parents and they honor their parents. But with a third party person, what my mother is for other children, it's superior. It's crazy, right? But they have their own parents. But her being a third party person, Missy Bond, they can come to her and they can talk to her and she's that person. And parents accept that because they have an extra, everybody need help. When I was little, I got whipped by a lady down the street. I don't understand it, but it made sense for them. And these times you can't whoop other people's kids, but you can talk to them and you can help them. So having an open mind to be able to let somebody else talk to your kids, as long as they're not turning your child against you. If a kid come to me, I'm gonna say, well, did you talk to your mother? And I'm gonna say, I'm not gonna tell your mom everything we talked about, but then I'm gonna call the parent and say, hey, me and Johnny had to talk today. Because I don't want them to feel like I'm hiding to talk to them. Now, I'm not gonna tell you everything Johnny said, but I'm gonna give you some ideas of how maybe you can get Johnny to tell you the same thing that Johnny told me.
Okay, any other one chime in on that?
I wanted to add to that. It made me think about my children at the daycare. 3, 4, and 5-year-olds are very talkative, and they tell everything that happened over the weekend, and all the things that happened with their parents. And it just clicked, and it dawned on me that a lot of the parents tell their kids, "Don't tell my business. Don't you say anything." So it starts at 3, 4, and 5. So by the time you do get to 12, you're not talking, because I've already been taught not to tell my business, not to say anything. But at first, kids come in and they will tell you everything. You know what? They were sitting up my daddy house and they had some Kool-Aid drinks and they was playing cards. They tell everything, and then when the parent goes and say, hey, you don't tell our business, you keep that stuff to yourself. Now we have isolated them to a place where they not talking. So yeah, when they get to 12, no, I'm not gonna share anything with you because you got me scared now, because I couldn't talk at 3, 4, and 5. Now I'm at 12 and 13. No, I can't say anything. It's just, I just wanted to share that because it just said ding.
And I wanted to add to the part where you say parents get upset because the kids are talking to someone else, but not talking to them. And I think one thing that we really spoke on is being triggered by things. As a parent, and I'm a parent to a talkative 3-year-old and I think I'm grown 13-year-old. And when our kids go through so much, and our kids grow with us. No parent is perfect. We're all learning. There's no book that comes with this. And so we have to be mindful too that when a kid expresses themselves, we think they're talking back. They're undermining you. They're expressing how they feel, how you made them feel, right? So, Mom, you ain't got to talk to me like that. Oh, Mom, why you yelling so much? Why you always got to yell? And we view that as them talking back. Then the kid may come to the school and talk to him and say, you know what? I'm in a really bad mood because my mom was getting on my nerves. She was yelling at me, blah, 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 blah. And then we get upset because now the kid tells us what's going on in our house. So I think, in a sense, too, when we talk about telling our business, giving that safe space for that third party to let them have that outlet of their experience with you. Doesn't make you a bad mom, don't make you or a bad parent or bad grandma, auntie, whoever you are. It gives them the right to be valid in their feelings of how they experience you. And so everyone has that free outlet. So you don't feel disrespected or you don't look down at yourself and say, you know what, you're trying to say I'm a bad mom. Well, no, I'm not trying to say you're a bad parent or a bad mom in that way, but I'm just saying this is my experience with you and this is how I felt. And maybe we can learn different skills by talking to these other people or family therapy. I'm big on family therapy. So having a sit down and talking about our experience with one another so that we can figure out how to navigate each other because we all need something different. And so maybe going out and getting that support from other people, we can bridge in and have better working relationships with our family.
We're getting ready to open up for question and answers, but before we do, I want to kind of go back to that about that therapy. That seems to be a new curse word. Therapy. Because first of all, the child said they want to kill themselves. So now I have a problem. The child is embarrassing me. They talking to you. They didn't talk to me as a parent. And you're suggesting that they have someone to talk. Well, I'm at home. They can talk to me. I said they can talk. I don't understand why they can't talk to me. And they don't understand that there's some things triggering that child. Because there's some things that child is seeing that they can't talk about, which you all said. them place the fear in you. And so I want you to talk about that therapy part, why do we need therapy? Whether it's the child or the family, what's that going to do? Because we ain't crazy.
No, and that's not what it is.
No.
Tell me something.
I would explain therapy as a way. So everybody's perception is different. All of y'all are sitting here and y'all perceiving us in so many totally different ways. I think with therapy is having that ability to talk about what your perception is, right? Your experience, what you're seeing, what you're enduring, what you're feeling, whatever it is that is, and then figuring out a better way to use whatever you're experiencing. How can we think about this better, right? Because typically, if we are thinking about things in a negative way, we're going to get negative every time around. So kind of getting that therapy to have that, learning how to communicate effectively. Because I know in my family, what's communicating effectively? I yell at you, you listen to me, and nobody else is not saying that because I curse you out, and that's just it. So being able to hear, feel, understand that just because I don't agree with you don't make you wrong. So learning, because that's not something that just comes, right? That's something you have to learn. That's something for me and you that may look different for each other. So what does that look like with our own individuality? What does that look like within our household? What does that look like within our history? Just learning new skills to help be successful.
Anybody want to have something to say?
I was just gonna add to that. Growing up in my household, I had siblings. I had a brother and a sister, and we all grew up together, same mom and dad. But we had different experiences. What my sister experienced was not what I experienced. We were in the same household, and what therapy does is help us to communicate with somebody, being the mediator, being able to help us to communicate what happened. So she may feel mom and dad wasn't there for her, and I may feel mom and dad was there for you. You had everything you needed, and I didn't get anything. But it's different perspectives, but being able to come together, communicate, and like she said, we might not agree on it, but we're able to communicate and work through it so that we can move forward as a family, and we can move forward and maybe even deal with some of my stuff. Some of the stuff that maybe our parents didn't share, finding out years later that your parents went through some things that they did not share with you. And parents, sometimes you don't know the things that you went through is going to help your child make it through. You cannot keep those things from them. You got to be able to open up and share those moments that you went through, because it's going to help your child. It's going to help them understand who they are, where they come from. So you have to be able to communicate what you've been through, how did you work through it, and if you haven't worked through it, then you need to see one of us so that you can work through that, so you all can be healed and we can bring out more healthy people and children.
Ms. Stewart, I just remembered something. I got to pick on you. Because it's your fault. You said some good stuff earlier.
She did.
Talk to us about what you saw as a child with the trauma of your mother and how that trauma affected you, as far as with, how I am them starting, I them get, if I'm rejogging, I don't want to tell her. I feel like testifying at all, but it's your testimony. Okay. Can you talk to us a little bit about the effects of what happened in your family, how that affected your mother, how that affected you?
Well, I started my nonprofit when I was 14. I started in honor of my two brothers that were killed. And when I started my nonprofit, and
how old were you?
I was 14.
Oh.
Yeah. And when I started, I have to say, when I lost my brothers, I lost my mother. And I say that because I had everything a child could want, material-wise, dream car, everything I ever wanted, but the love. So I was playing sports, I still was doing things, but my mom wasn't there. Like she would be there, but it was like, you know, it was a flat line. But I had to understand that because my mother had carried the child was taken from her. She couldn't understand how to gently love me in the season that I needed her to. So it took for me to become an adult, and I'm 23. I'm an adult, but I'm a young adult. And it took for me to see that balance, that now my mom is a home-based caseworker. She's a behavioral modification specialist for other children. And the way that she's that light for them, it's like she makes up for it, right? So it took for her to go through what she went through. And if she never went through what she went through, I wouldn't be how I am now. So when I say I wouldn't be how I am now, my test was a testimony, her test was a testimony, but it built me. And my mom was very big on keeping us in the church. And I said earlier we had Sunday service, but I kind of said, like, my mom, it's a lot of opinions and options. Like, kids get options to go to church. And we didn't have that option. Like, we didn't have the option to talk about God. And it's a mom back there, like, I'm not gonna call her out, but she keep them kids. She keep them kids in the church. Like, one thing the Springers gonna do is be in church and somebody's in a group or something. But that's how my mother was with me. Like, she would work in Tinley Park. We went to church in Munster. We lived in Maryville. She would leave Tinley Park to come to Maryville to drive us back to Munster. But it wasn't, even if she stayed in the car and took a nap, her kids was in church. We had no choice but to praise God. So even when I went through my identity crisis, or I went through what I went through, I've made mistakes, I've failed, but God never took his hand off of me. So for me, I think that with a lot of kids, when they took the pledge out of school, that's when the problem really, we used to say one nation under God. Kids don't have that foundation no more, so they don't have that balance, or they don't have it. We used to run down the hall to get to the office to see who's gonna say the pledge. We used to look forward to that foundation, or having stand up for something. These kids don't stand for something, so they fall for anything. Anything influences them, so they don't really have a line. So watching my mother go through losing my brothers, my mother is my best friend. That's why I don't agree when people say you can't be friends. Kick it. We roll dog. We get into it, like, that's my dog. You know what I'm saying? But I keep that, I have respect for my mother. I don't play with her. I don't cuss. And if I feel like I'm so angry, I gotta cuss, I be like, can I please say it? And I say it, or I'll spell it, or I'll start the word and she'll finish it, because she understands my child really, we have that balance with each other. And I think that with the kids that I work with, some kids, they smoke weed. And I'm gonna give you two examples of two parents I know. Johnny gonna smoke, right? You find out Johnny's smoking. You take Johnny's phone. Guess what Johnny's still gonna do?
Smoke weed.
Parent number two here. Johnny, Mom, I'm a smoke, I'm a vape, I can't help myself. All right, I'm gonna give you a safe ground to do it, because your child get a hold of Tunchi or get a hold of synthetic, now you in a sticky situation. So I think that it's not accepting my child gonna smoke weed, but it's on them. It's on the table. They passed the law. They put it in their face, right? So it's been systemized for them to be able to do it and accept it, and that's a lot. I got one kid, literally, they can't even operate be in school in the bathroom, hitting the weed pen. Where's the resource officer? The resource officers can't even keep up with the amount of kids. Why are you smoking weed in the bathroom at school? It ain't to be cool. My anxiety, I can't deal with it. Look at their hands, they skin peeled off their hands because they sitting there doing this because they can't function, you know? So I think that with parents and dealing with children, I don't have children, but I work with children. I get the raw form of children and seeing how kids operate. Every kid just want to be loved. I wanted to be loved. I know my mama loved me. I know she still loves me. But my mother was a person, I didn't get whoopings. It wasn't a thing. But she would cuss me out. And the way she cussed me out, it prepared me. So when I got outside, it's nothing nobody in this world ever say to me to hurt my feelings. But that's not the way. Now that I'm older and we're able to talk, I'm able to comprehend and let her know, hey, Mom, I really didn't appreciate when you said that to me. But it's not disrespectful. It's not being harmful, and it's not, parents think, well, I'm the parent, you're gonna respect me, I don't have to respect you. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Because when you were a child, you wanted your parents to respect what you had to say. Sometimes, yeah, we might get jazzy, but that's because we're not body language. Mom always body language. Look at somebody in the eyes. So teaching your child that, like, hey, Johnny, this is not how you do this, but we build a line to be respectful. So I think that for parents now, your kids, it's my family owns a funeral home. I work there. We burying 11-year-olds. We burying kids. They kill them and leave them in the back of a building, babies, right? But that's because the new 11 is the new 14, 15. The new 15 is the new 18, 19, and they have their hands in different things. So think about it. If I want my kid to smoke weed, no, I don't want you to smoke weed. Do I want my kid to sell the gun? No, I don't want my kid to sell the gun. But which one am I going to balance with? Them hiding it from me and getting around the wrong crew, or me trying to work with them and figure out how I can bring longevity to their life?
Everything they said, can we clap it up for the family, y'all? Everything that they've said is what I can say by you all being parents of Aspire, is things that we deal with on a day-to-day, not excluding myself and Miss Campbell, who does an excellent job as a social worker, myself, but then we have people like Ms. Andrews. We have right here a 6th grade teacher who also works in the dealing with kids in the system. We have Ms. Anderson. She everybody mama, and she's able to, and so when we're dealing with this, the thing is we want to develop a learned partnership. So there's an awareness that needs to happen, and this is not going to be the last time. And so I got a million questions I could toss at them, but we want to go ahead and open this time for you all to ask a question to our panel. Now there's a difference between a question and there's a difference between a speech. Okay, they can say statement, no speech. Okay, please ask a question to the panel because we want to bring about an awareness, and there's no subject taboo in dealing with the pressures of your youth. So anyone have a question? I see one over here. All right, go ahead and ask your question.
It's not a question. I just first want to commend you. Commend you, ladies. Thank you so very much. Miss, I got so many notes. Miss Ashley, Ashley Stewart.
I'm
No, that's where I
Stewart.
That's where I shot Ashley Stewart.
That's all right. That's what you want me to say.
together.
But you are wise beyond your years, and all of you all are very knowledgeable. Mr. Reeves, Miss Anderson, they know I'm a 2nd generation parent. I'm parenting my grandchild. Mm-hmm. And so you all have hit every nail on the head. Mm-hmm. I was raised in the generation, children are to be seen and not heard. Mm-hmm. So now I have 37
to get heard.
Exactly. So now I have a 37-year-old son, and it was like, okay, you can be seen, you can be heard in this way. But now with this 11-year-old, as you all mentioned, it's figuring out how to work with him. I was telling Ms. Campbell, back then you see a kid as a kid, but this 11-year-old is going to be an adult one day. And so what I see now as the 11-year-old is I'm planting the seed for this 25-year-old.
Yes.
One thing that we do, and I just asked for your feedback. I don't remember which one of you, I think it was you, Ms. Robinson, about conversations, and Ms. Stewart mentioned having a safe place. One of the things we've started to do, we have car conversations.
That's good.
I pick you up from school, from the Boys and Girls Club. How was your day? Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you redirected? No, ma'am. Oh, okay, great. And then there's a call. We in the car. Okay, so why didn't you tell me you had to be redirected or you had to see Mr. Reese? Because I knew you would get mad. And I can't remember which of you said it about the parent getting mad. Because I send you out there not to have them be, oh, it's not about getting mad, it's about the process for him. So where do you go beyond that conversation? Like now we're at the point where you'll be, okay, I got redirected twice, but I'm okay. So where do you go beyond that to start the processing? Because this is a future adult.
Right.
So where do you take that conversation after that?
After you get the phone call, he was like, oh, I didn't tell you because I thought you was gonna get mad. Well, what happened? Tell me. Well, I'm not mad.
Correct.
What happened? Right?
Even if
They
you're mad,
think
I'm
you gonna
not
get mad.
mad.
I'm disappointed because first of all, you didn't feel comfortable with talking to me. Right? So and now I have to really prove to you that I'm not gonna get mad. So
Right.
you can't fall for the trick because I'd be like, you laugh. No, you can't fall for the trick. But what happened? What was going on? Why did you need to be redirected? And so they ain't gonna fall for the okie doke. They gonna
Correct.
test you a couple times. But being able to thinking, well, what did happen? What was I doing that distracted me? Because I said this earlier, you raise these kids and everybody have they difference, right? But they coming up from 0 till about 11-ish when they start getting their own little thing where they think they grown and they know everything. But in those years, they look to you for everything. Mama, I like the way you do your hair. I want to put my hair like this. I love your shoes. I want to wear your shoes. Up until then, they wanted everything to do with you. And then they want to leave you. And you like, you can't leave me yet. But trust that you've instilled the skills that's needed. You put your all into those younger years so that when they trust them to be independent, trust them to fall and see if they're going to get themselves back up. And if they don't, give them a hand and say, hey, come on, I got you. And send them out again and trust that they will fall, they will mess up, they will, because we all did. We all fell a couple times. God done had a couple, not falls, tumbles, right? And then my mom was there, right? So the conversation, the processing is happening. What happened? What did you need? What was going on? And trust, they may not be able to give, he may not know, but he may pay attention next time. He may get tired of, okay, mom not gonna get mad when I tell her this. So what is going on? Just keep having those conversations. What is it that you need? What's going on in the classroom? Why are you being redirected? Are you not understanding the work? So you like, forget all of that. I'm gonna go over here and do this because I ain't got time for that. Because that's another discussion for, let me see if I need my child an IEP or things like that. Or is it, I'm too smart and I'm getting bored? What's going on in that classroom? Am I influenced by figuring out what's their experience here? So then they can trust that they can come to you for support, figuring out on themselves, gaining them skills.
So are there any particular questions or keywords or something that will catch to take it from, okay, I didn't have a good day, to processing before? Because this is a whole different generation.
I want to say, that question you asked kind of triggered me. My mom, she, like I said, she's a home-based caseworker now. So the car conversations in the morning or after she picks them up are the most important for them. Her with this little kid on me, and about 2 weeks ago, he passed away. And he was one of my mom's DCS cases. And the car rides, he was a foster child, and the car rides were his time to get himself, to free himself from what he felt like he needed to free himself from. And then he would go into his foster home. And mine, but then the next morning, Miss Yvonne, she pissed me off. And mom would be like, Ashley, a test. The kids that no one wants to work with are the kids that my mother works with. The kids that people, that's not cute, them kids cussing. It's not about it being cute. You piss them off. Why you piss them off? That's fair. You know what I'm saying? For instance, like building that ground where they're able to come and say, hey, even though I'm 10, you're not supposed to be saying,
obviously you did something to me where I didn't, that's the only word I had to give to you. And in that moment, it wasn't for you to feel disrespected by it, but that's how I felt like I needed to express myself because obviously I heard somebody say pissed off with her. And it was mad bad, right? So building that conversation, like when I was younger, I used to want home to be like, Lee, how was your day? But if kids that was a whole different time, right? So now when you ask kids, how was your day? Mid, decent, or it's no real answer, but I promise you, what it means to them, my mom now has this thing, I'm very big, don't call me in the morning and tell me nothing. Ask me, did I say my prayers first? Or did I read my scriptures? I'm very big on that. So my mom, she used to just call me and be like, girl, your auntie, like just dumping everything on me. Now my whole day I'm fighting to adhere to my emotions. 2 weeks ago, mom called me, she said, before I start, did you say your prayers today? Hey, girl, what? It did something to me because she heard me. You see what irritates me and you caught on to it as my parent and you didn't look at it like, well, I'm a parent, girl, if I gotta call you in the morning, I'm ready to talk, I'm ready to talk. But she stepped out of that because at first she was like, girl, I'm calling to talk. Okay, bye. But now she got to understand that's a trigger for me because I might not be able to grab hold of my day for the rest of the day if you call me and dump that on me. So think about when you guys are getting in the car, how do you start your mornings? You start your mornings with affirmations. Snoop Dogg has the I am me, and that's all that I'm ever going to be, right? And starting off in the morning with your children. I don't like listening to rap music anymore. Play some melodies or quiet music, because if I start jumping, I love Jeezy, but if I start off with him in the morning, I'm gonna want to do something to somebody mid-day. But if I start off with some gospel music, or if we just silent and we riding, and you telling me, I hope you have a great day today. Johnny, don't slap Peter today. And if Josephine come over here starting with you today, you know what I'm saying? Having that conversation and then letting them out the car. I'm very big on that. So setting that environment and that energy and that serenity in the morning. Hey, buddy. And after I said all that with you, if you still want to go out there and play, now we finna have to talk. Now it's some consequences because I'm bowing down to you in a sense to figure out how I can help you, because some of these kids, they manipulate you. They know what you're doing. You play with them to a certain extent. Hey, I'm getting you down. I'm down to your level. I'm babying you. I'm talking to you. I'm caring about your feelings. And you still gonna go to these people's school and act a fool? But you should be embarrassed as a parent. You should be. Because why are you embarrassed? You gonna make these people. I'll never forget I had a parent. I can't worry about it. I said, what do you mean? Your child's 16. I'm worried about it. What do you mean you're not coming to the meeting with me? I can't worry about it. I can't let the child. But then I have to understand, you're not worried. She can't worry about it because she's been worrying about it. So what we gonna do? Let it kill you and let them grow, let them learn. It took me to get 21 to have an identity crisis, and this identity crisis almost killed me. Almost lost everything I ever worked for. I had to go through it because my mother sheltered me. She always quieted me down. You know what I'm saying? So adhering to that, teaching that question over here, and paying attention to it and noticing it, now I'm okay. And I can help other people. See, come on, Auntie.
I just want to add to you, to your question as well. In those car rides, you asked about the day, and sometimes we can focus on the bed, right? So did you have a good day? Yeah. Then you get a phone call. He was distracted. All right, you had a bad day. Those car discussions too. Try to figure out who they are. Mm-hmm. Who's your friend? Who was you with when this was going on? Not even encouraged, because we all got mad about ourselves now. But those continued conversations, it won't happen overnight. But if you continue to create, this is our relationship, and this is what we do in the car, it'll start coming out more. And as they get older, they are gonna feel like they can speak to you and give you that information. Yeah.
Mr. Vaughn, 8th grade teacher, started off with us as a community, what was it? Community and schools, and then decided, now we're gonna be family, and joined the ranks of being a teacher here, and come on board, been part of various crisis issues here. He wanted to go ahead and say something to this, and then we're gonna come to parent.
What I wanted to say was the one part I wasn't hearing was you were saying like if you had the issue of these your scholars having an issue and they're talking about what they did wrong. I think beyond that, what you also have to do is now let's role play. What can we have done differently?
That's
Every time I have an issue with a scholar or a scholar has an issue in the building, I usually take them outside. I'm gonna be honest. We're gonna go outside. We're gonna go away for a second. Let you express it the way you know how to express it. I give them that freedom to do that, and then after they've expressed everything that they need to, because eventually they're gonna stop talking. Eventually they're gonna realize, okay, I got it out. Okay, now let's work towards the next moment, because we can't change what happened, right? We can't change what happened, but we can work towards the next time it might happen.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, okay, let's look inward first, because we can't control what anybody else does, right? So let's look inward at what we could have done differently ourselves to then now work towards dealing with if this situation, or even better, when this situation presents itself again. You gotta work on what I can change. Because I, especially as teenagers, one thing, and I used to work at the Christ Center as well before I started here. One thing that we had up at one point there was pretty much you're a teenager, and a lot of kids go through. There's a lot that they can't control in their lives, right? But the one thing they can't control is how they react to everything that's going on around them. So if I can control how I'm going to react to certain things, I'm going to make sure that I place myself in those moments and be mindful of how I'm feeling, what my triggers are, what's going to set me off, so that the next time I'm prepared. So making sure you kind of in that conversation with, okay, what could we have done differently? What should you be looking out for, so that situation, if it's presenting itself again, how can I address it the next time around? And how can I be better? And then when the next time happens, they're going to come to you and explain what they did differently. So make sure you have that conversation.
All right. We have a parent. We have another parent.
So I have like a little bit of everything. So I am at my job. I work in a high school. I'm a behavior specialist, social emotional learning, and restorative justice. So this is my with your own. Woo, it's a little. She's not behaving. She's not. And I have three. I have 15, 11, and 4. So I have to parent different to all three. So and like Ms. Robinson, she said, I could do it when my kids at school. I'm mama, I'm auntie, everything to them, everything they need, everything they're looking for. And I feel like I bring those things into my home as well. Like, so when I say that, I do the journaling, family therapy, individual therapy. I do all of those things, and I still feel like it's not enough. When I see 219 on my phone from Ms. Andrews, I was just so it's a trigger. Like, I don't want to answer the phone because I already know what it is, you know. And it's not anything really bad. It's really just what do I do when I feel like I've given? My mom she raised me because I said so generation. So I vow not to do that with them, and now I feel regretful because I feel like I should have said. So I give you this open platform. You know, I give you all these things. You don't want anything. You have a 2-parent household plus a grandma who lives in the home with you. Because my dad passed away, and my mom moved in, and so you have 3 parents who shouldn't. And in my mind, it's kids that want that, what you have, and it's still not enough. And so I am asking for me, what do I need? Because I don't know what to do anymore constantly. I'm waking you up with the gentle parents, and we praying in the morning. We doing all those things. Hey, if you feel like you can't talk to me, it's a journal over there. You leave your notes, yours is there, your brother's is there, your brother's there. If you feel like you can't talk to me, I'll respond in the book so that you don't have to see my facial expressions. You don't have to see how I'm feeling. Because I know that we don't always respond correctly. Because it is emotional for you when it's your kids, because you want to protect them. It's not always anger. It's protective to me, like, oh, what can I have done for that to happen? Or, and it still feels like it's not enough. So I don't know. Even doing what I do every day, I don't know what to do.
If I can just, because most of the time, or she is receiving a call from myself, as Mr. Reese stated earlier. In addition to being a teacher, I'm also licensed as a social worker. And Mom, I believe we had this discussion before. When I'm calling, I don't consider it to be a behavior, like language and wording does play a part. So when I call, I immediately let you know that, hey, I'm not calling because of a behavior issue. I'm concerned and want to keep you in open communication.
Absolutely.
So even as that being that dual role, I'm willing. Is this always the case? No. But anytime I'm aware of the behavior, I work according to the behavior as well as in the grade book. So I want to applaud. I know you feel at this moment that it is not working, but understand it is a process.
And it's only we feel like one. But I don't know, and I feel like I'm trying to. Got 2 boys and she don't hear her. And she my middle. And she the only girl in our family. And my husband. She has no auntie. She has no uncle. She don't know auntie, no cousin. She's the only girl. So I don't know. She's super smart. She ahead, but she socially is trying to fit in, and that's where I feel.
So I can just finish up.
She just turned 11 April 3rd, but she's a 6th grade.
So let me, yeah.
Absolutely.
Jahar, let me tell you something. My mother taught me one good lesson. I was 22, and I valued everything else in the world more than I valued what my mother said to me. Every other people was important. Society was more important. So my mama stopped talking to me. She said, because I'm going to show you how it feels not to have a mother. You want to feel like that? It's kids out here that we work with that die. Yeah. Go to hell and back to have a mother like her. You understand me? To have a 2-parent household. I didn't have a 2-parent household. I didn't find out who my biological father was until I was 10. You understand me? And he was big. I would die. You understand? To have a 2-parent household, to have my needs met, and to have a gentle parent that wants to understand how to care for my way of thinking. Turn around, look at your mama. Tell her I honor you. Put your hand down. Don't get nervous now. Now I'm being for real. Because I'm sure my first brother was killed when he was 16 and I was 7. My second brother was killed when he was 20 and I was 13. I'm the only child my mother has ever had to make it to 21. I'm sure when she made the vow to be a mother, she never imagined to bury her children. You understand me? You owe your mother to honor her. Honor thy mother and thy father so that your days shall be longer. But you know what most important people forget is so that it should be well with you. If nothing else you hear today sticks with you, you turn around and you let her know you honor her. Okay? It's okay to be a class clown, but you don't want to be a life clown. That's all I got for you.
And I want to pour into you. Understand that everything you do is sticky. You don't see it. It's tested. And you test. I be going to drag man up and down the stairs every day. Okay, and I've done everything that I possibly can. But now you have to understand that you've done what you gonna do, what you can do. The ball is in her court. It will stick. She will fall, and your hand is always gonna be right.
It's like I don't want to keep taking and taking. It's like take the phone, take the iPad,
At all.
No,
You
you
done
don't
that.
and also understand that some of these behaviors are normal according to their age. But they have taken certain things out of
And like I
proportion.
said, she's not really like, she's not a bad kid. Like that's not my issue.
She's really cute.
And she just, I don't know what she's looking for. She's been to 6 schools because I moved her when I fit. it's somebody, my advisor, and I move.
Don't move and make her adapt.
I make her stay here. I
Make
make
her
her
adapt.
adapt. But it's like, somebody mess with you, oh, let's do it.
no,
I mean, like,
She
that's
messing
how-
with you?
And that's what I do. She does, and this is the thing, like, we leave out the house at 6:45, 6:30, 6:45. I don't get home till 8 o'clock.
Miss
That's
Andrew,
how
what
we
time
do.
you calling?
Different.
But she not calling because she sleep.
She's
That's her biggest issue at school. She sleep. She don't get, I don't get talking.
Her grades good.
But now she's sleeping.
You know, because
But she go to bed at 8:00, 8:30.
but the con,
But
you
like,
know,
like
they
I
have
said, it's a
natural
process and it looks different at different stages.
Yeah,
So
but
it don't
there
fit
is
into
process.
the
Science,
it hasn't met its goal yet. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
So can you go ahead and state, because we did talk about this earlier, about some of the signs with our young people, such as them being, sleepy and tired. And I just want to say this, and not that it's her, and kids just by default that's here. This was going to be a dope conversation if you was here or not. But some of our kids that go to bed at 8 may wake up at 10.
right.
They wake up at 11. And then depending on if you allow them to have their device near them, then they up till 4 or 6. And so I suggest, we were talking about that, not to, always punish them by taking their device, but you also have to make sure that they're maybe limiting their access, or sometimes just making sure that you just monitor how much they're on it, because you want to make sure she gets the proper, and she may tell one of us how she exactly sleeps, but then there's another side to it. Go ahead, Mrs. Golfin.
You wanna check their rooms, but you also wanna look at,
I ain't going to that. When we still trying to ask her to clean it up, I ain't going to that.
Mama, you
That's privilege. I'm not going to that.
okay. Go, Mrs. Golfin, let her give a statement, and we got a question that's actually online. So go ahead. No, go ahead.
Listen, I'm gonna need you to go in that room. You gonna have to go in that room, and I'm gonna need you to check whatever you gotta do, gloves, whatever. You need to go in that room and check. You need to check everything around, under the bed, on the bed, in the closet, because you don't know what she got going on in there. These are gonna give you clues as to what's going on with your daughter when she's not talking to you, not telling you what's going on. You have to go in there, and you have to recognize anything that changes that they normally do. There's a change, whether they're not sleeping, or they sleeping too much, or it's just certain things that they're doing that they normally don't do. You got to keep watch on it. You got to give yourself some grace. You're doing a good job, but some of the things you definitely got to go in that room.
I do.
And I don't know,
But she don't have on the bed. She got the
She can have a closet. She can have a trapper keeper.
behind the bed,
Go in the trapper
drawers,
keeper.
under the drawers, under the clothes, in the shoes, in the boxes. You need to check them.
I mean, and if I can add on that, if it is like a sleeping issue, you gotta think of all the factors that play into sleep. It's not just the environment itself, but it's also the foods that you eat and physical exercise. All that stuff is connected. All is connected. So just keep in mind, like I said, I know you're still exploring the issue with Jahari, because it's different amongst different people. So continue to process and be patient with the process and believe.
I want to just add in self-esteem.
Yes.
I won't put it all, because we like to put names and titles on depression and anxiety. And in this age, they kind of going through that puberty. Puberty is real, like real. So lack of energy, want to sleep all day. There's a lot of different things going on with their body, but it's so many things going on with their mind, with their emotions. It's chemically their body is adjusting to what the world is expecting of them, and then trying to show up and be everything that they feel like they need to be. not just what you need her to be, but when she walk in the doors and how Kim, Sharon, and everybody else expect that to be. And you know, there's so many expectations and so many self-doubt, the inner looking at myself. Do I compare to this? How do I be this? I like this. I don't like that. Who am I? What am I gonna be? How do I? It's just so much going on. That it presents itself in so many ways. The lack of the room, the clean hygiene, schoolwork, sleep, all of those things, different components, and we could, say, but all parents be aware of that. Mine eat like a grizzly bear. So when she go, and I'm like, you're not eating. What's wrong? Come sit on the couch. Because I'm now scared. Because you usually clear my refrigerator out. So you're not eating tonight. I don't know, right? So changes and say, you know what, you being a little different, and I expect you to move a different way. What's preventing you from being able to do what I want you to do? And again,
And I do, that's what I'm saying. That's like I'm kind of a brick wall because I am that. I'm a helicopter here. I'm talking to you. I'm asking what's wrong. So we can fire and touch. Like I'm everything, and I'm going to make you say so much. And so then she does say, "Why you go see Miss Leah?" So I'm like, "Okay, you go see Miss Leah," but I don't know what's being said in there. So I'm still at a brick wall because I don't ask, and I don't ask her when she comes out because that's not that shows.
And but we're gonna change your perspective too. You keep saying brick wall, but you just provide her with a resource. That's not a brick wall.
Yeah. That's a.
I don't know how
the new kids,
yeah, we're gonna.
I want to see
At the end of this, we'll be able to come because we got a couple more. No problem. Because this is good. This is healthy. And so we have an online question. Then we have a parent that has a question, and then we have to prepare to wrap it up because we want y'all to be able to come back again. All right. We have a parent that's asking and saying this. Hold on, let me go up a little bit more. They're saying, how do I handle my child saying they will unalive themselves if I make a decision to do something with their hairstyle change? So basically, they are changed. They say, no, I need to do this with your hair. And that child is saying, no, I will unalive myself, which we already know what unalive myself means. And those that don't know, I'll kill myself.
Right.
And here it is. That's not always to be taken as a joke.
Yeah.
You know, a hairstyle change.
Hair is big. That's
It's
a
big.
big change.
It's major.
That's an identity change.
Y'all stop looking at me because I ain't got no hair. I had hair, okay?
That's an identity change.
Okay, so what would you say to that parent? And I want to limit and forgive me you all because I want to get to the other parent too. But I want to throw this out there, and then we're gonna go to another parent.
Right.
Why are we doing it? It should be an open discussion. And what's making you feel like this is a forced change? Why are we not allowing this child to make a decision about what they gotta walk through and deal with?
Say that again. I didn't hear you. You was like your volume was low.
Oh.
So bring that up a little bit.
So why are we not allowing this child to have control over what they have to deal with or what they have to wear? This is part of them. So that figuring out why are we, how can we make this discussion and why is that the hairstyle so important? Because clearly this means an absolute lot to this kid. Can we respect the decision that I hate your hair, but if you love it, that's on you. You gotta walk through that every day.
All right. Okay. So we have another question. We don't have parent. So
okay. So this is my second go round. Hey, Aaliyah. Oh, great. Me and Leah go to church together. She know these people. So now they gonna act a little shy, but that's okay. So this is my second go round of raising kids. My grandparents raised me. I was one of those that they said, hey, I had you, but I want to do what I want to do. So my grandparents stepped in, they adopted me. I end up, because my grandparents were getting up in age, my grandmother now is 83. So I was raised from that, you're going to do what I tell you to do. Right. You really ain't got no opinion and watch how you step to me. So I raised my two brothers
and 2 godkids. So I've done the teenage thing already, and now I got to do it with my own. I'm learning that I tried to parent like my grandmother parented me, and it didn't work. So with these kids nowadays, we got to change how we parent. Just because your mama and your daddy raised you a certain way, these now, you got to take the time and you got to listen to them. And they got opinions, and they going to tell you your opinion. I just feel like you got to learn how to present your opinion. Because I'm still gonna be that one that you gonna respect me. I'm not one of your friends. I'm not. But at the end of the day, I have 4, and I have a stepdaughter, and now I got a grandbaby because I'm a foster mother too. So I've had to come to the place where I got to get my energy back to where I had it raising everybody else's kids, and I got to put that same energy into my own kids. But I also learned that I have to. My husband is a truck driver, so they do have a 2-parent household, kind of, because he's gone most of the time. My son, he's the only boy out of everybody. So I have to do that. Let's go. We leaving everybody else home because I've learned that I can't parent all 4 of them the same. No, they all 4 got different everything. So I have to listen to them different. I got 2 that's cuddlers and they want to touch me, and I'm like, okay. All right, let me love on you for a little while, but I need my space at the same time. But also, I do agree totally with allowing them to talk to somebody else. Again, being raised by older parents, what happened in my house, stay in my house.
Yeah.
But then I had to get out of that because I saw things that were going on with them. ADHD, IEPs, 504 plans. So I'm like, this is different to me. What do I have to do? They got somebody who's been with them forever since elementary school, Miss Norwood. Now, outside of school, hey, let's call Miss Norwood. That's just like what y'all been seeing on social media about the teacher who allowed kids to take his hair down. That's different. But having that teacher or having somebody in the building who they can go to when they feel like they're in a crisis or they feel like they're about to break down. I tell in IEP meetings, hey, Ms. Norwood is my person, because I can't remember everything that I need to say in this IEP meeting. But outside of school, they have somebody who they can reach out to, who they can love on. It ain't always gotta be me. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I'm mentally and physically getting to the point where I'm drained. So if you got somebody and I agree with the person who you say, at one point it was Aaliyah, I don't care. Talk to them. I just feel like they need to make sure they gotta have that outlet. And some parent, you don't always want to talk about everything with a parent. Sure don't. I know with me getting raised by older grandparents, I really didn't talk. I balled stuff up. I balled my anger up. But then when I started going to counseling, I said, oh, this freeing right here. Let me keep going on because I got to pour that into somebody else. I can't keep keeping it all in to myself. So my question is, what other ways or what question? I think somebody else might have asked it as well. It's just to open up conversation. Because if I get called bro one more time, we're going to have a problem. If I see her as AU, we're going to have a problem. But I just know that that's their language, and I'm learning to adapt to it, even though I don't want to. So I need ways that I can just stir up conversations. Maybe not as, because this one is in high school and then the other girls. So I don't talk about, we don't have group conversations because I just know his is different than what the girls are.
I would say icebreakers. With knowing you and knowing how you operate with your children, I can say that you're very, first of all, with anyone, they have a great pastor.
Amen.
They have a great pastor that is youthful. Pastor Dr. Rodney C. Griffin Jr., Greater Grace. Anyways,
plug.
anytime you want to stop by Greater Grace, 269. Wesley stepped out in 10-15 But they have a great, on a serious note, they have a great pastor. And get your child, even if you don't have a pastor for yourself, get your child a pastor. So I would say there comes a conversation where you have to say, hey, Doc, Snia, Mariah, Sam, Angie, they need somebody because I'm about Tangia, they need somebody, a youth leader in the church. Hey, show me how to operate with my children or how you operate. Let me sit in and be a fly or put a camera on you or something and show me how you operate with my children so that I can see how to possibly navigate myself to be able to operate with my children. So having a good leader, Pastor Reese here at the school, right? But with Pastor Griffin became my pastor. I was 13, he was 25. I'm 23, he's 35. You understand what I'm saying? That time gap of having somebody, he's still useful and he still can understand. And he's not married. So he has time on his hands. Sorry, Pastor. He has time on his hands. He don't have nothing to do. He got time on his hands to be able to call y'all pastor and pull on him. Pastor, I need help. Because when I was up, Pastor G, my mama is pulling me, help myself. So call Pastor G. He's open, he's there. He's not a celebrity pastor. He's not one of them. Call him, Pastor G. Hey, this is aisle 6. You need it. And see what he can do for you. He know them kids. He saved over.
I want to go ahead, Ms. Robinson, and then I want Ms. Anderson to give us a brief chime in, and we're gonna conclude it.
Gotcha. I mean, I got a 13-year-old. The conversation started just, you know your kid, what's such and such them doing? All right, what y'all just, so I talk to Mad like I'm her friend. She may tell me, she may not, but I'm gonna keep asking and I pray. I think the biggest thing is just never give up, never stop trying. Eventually, it will. You will see results. Like that's the biggest thing that I can say as the conversation started. Because they're gonna look at you like, how you know what? Stand outside their door, listen to the conversation, then be like, yeah, so how much can you do? She want to come over this weekend. She sounds like she's struggling. Bring over this weekend, and then she'll be looking at you like, what? And then to go from there. Just try everything that you can.
Alex, you got it on lock.
No. And it's games out there, like family games and squad conversations that all can engage.
See, that's what you keep hearing as you go along in life. You got it on lock. But on the inside, you just feel like you.
On the outside, looking in, when you put your makeup on and you dress them kids up, as long as it's to us on the out, you're doing it. You understand me? You don't got disrespectful children. Hold on to that.
And then also from just overall, just hearing everybody speak, just know it's difficult to pour from an empty cup. So there you pouring into a child, but at what capacity?
You cannot be a good mom if you're not a good, you cannot be a good parent if you're not a good person to yourself. Understand that your children are watching you.
Yes.
It's okay to let them see you struggle, because how you pick yourself up, they will learn how to pick themselves up. How you take care of yourself, they will learn how to take care of themselves. How you love on you is how they will learn how to love on themselves. If they watch you pouring into everybody else and never giving love to themselves, then they'll adapt and they'll pour into everybody else and never love themselves. No, everybody question their ability to do whatever that they doing. And all of us wake up in the morning and think, am I good enough today? Am I doing this right? It's always a question. But to continue going, to having the conversations, you know what, I struggle with that too, and that's why I'm checking in on you. And this is how I love on myself, because I see you ain't loving on yourself too good. Let me show you how to do. And be vulnerable, be a woman, be a man, be a person, be human, and know that we all just trying to figure it out. Amen.
Ms. Anderson.
I just want to take a little bit from everybody, okay? I was raised in a foster home where I was abused. When I got 18, she put me out on the street. I was on suicide row until somebody had befriended me and introduced me to Jesus. Okay? And it was only then was I able to love myself. And when I had my children, I decided to break the cycle. Okay? And when I felt that anger rise up, I decided to channel it another way.
Yeah.
And when I was coming up, I was one of those too. I ain't none of your friend. My children are grown. They're my friends. I'm their friend.
Yeah.
Because my son gave me a Mother's Day card that said, "Thank you for always listening to me when I had nobody else."
Yeah.
If we can't do anything but listen, one more thing. I worked at Companion Academy.
You got a test.
Those that know about, I was scared of those boys, but they never knew that I was scared of them. I would come in, I wasn't one of the workers that cussed them out. I wasn't one of the workers. I would let them, I come in, I say, "Come to my office." I ain't had no office. My office was a chair at the end of the hall. They would come and sit at my feet. I would listen to those babies. When they got through, and I'm talking about 17, 18, 19-year-old, hardcore. When I got through listening to them, I said, "Now, did you hear yourself?" "Oh, yeah, that didn't even sound right, did it?" I let them get it out. Okay? I've come in there where they had body wash in their pockets, ready to knock somebody's sense off. I came in there, I was the leg person, that when we had to take them down, somebody had to help me up off the floor, but I held them legs so they wouldn't hit. Okay, but at the end of the day, I knew what my job was, but I listened. The same way I listen to them, I listen to my kids. Sometimes we can't react, because when we react the wrong way, it could send them to the top or it could send them to the bottom. And I learned that with my children. I learned that here. When I first started working here, Mr. Reese, no, I was rah, 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 rah. I learned how to tone it down.
Tone it down.
Because sometimes all these babies need is a hug. I tell these babies, because it starts in our hall. K2, we got some rascals. And that's before they even get to middle school. I tell these babies, I said, "Free hugs today." And when they come in that door, I greet. How many don't I greet you good morning?
I'll come get my hug too.
But that's what we need, even as adults, that's what we need. Somebody to show that they care about us. And just listen, whether we wrong or not. Just listen. And once we get it out, we okay. We okay.
I want to throw in one last thing that this has made me understand, this conversation. We threshold every morning.
We do.
And I when I heard that word, I'm like, what in the world does that mean? And it's literally standing at the door. Good morning. Good morning, how you doing? And we do it with, we're all supposed to do it. And our principal will be through these hallways. If we not where we supposed to be right at 7:35, she's gonna get right on our tail. "Hey, I need the threshold." And it's simply because we're checking the temperature of how somebody's doing.
That's right.
Before they walk in the door. When you all get your kids back after school, threshold. I'm talking about somebody walking up, "Hey, give me a hug. How you doing?"
Yeah.
Every single day. And the kids might act like they're tired of it, but I promise you they need it. Because something may have happened here that we didn't catch, or something may have happened on the way home, or something may have happened on this thing right here
Yeah.
that thank God we didn't have to deal with it coming to school, but they do. And this is a battle daily, 24/7. It does not stop.
That's right.
So threshold with your kids, ask them every day how you doing, give them a hug, show them love. I don't care if y'all got into it. When they left you in the morning, when they come back, love on.
That's
Because
right.
every kid wants to talk and express themselves to somebody that's willing to listen.
That's right.
So if you would give them that energy and give them that ability every single day, I promise you relationships will change. Behaviors will start to change. If there's certain behaviors you're worried about, build it. And it's a process. It's not gonna happen overnight, but build it every single day, and I promise you. It's sticking, like you said, it's sticking.
Can we clap it up for the panel, everyone? Did you all enjoy this?
Yeah.
So, Ms. Campbell and I have been talking about, I've kind of been pushing her on some things. So we're gonna look at trying to do this maybe like once a month. If it's not even person to person, we have the means through our YouTube page that we're able to connect everybody in. And so we'll let you all know. We'll be able to invite more guests that don't have to necessarily be here physically, but you'll be able to watch in the comfort of your home. And let's talk about these things. As we wrap it up, some things that Ms. Campbell and I have talked about, as well as our administration, Principal Robinson, what have you. Parents, when you drop your kids off to school, some of the pressure can be relieved that you did not apply pressure on them, and you weren't the first one to apply pressure on them. What do you mean? You weren't their first obstacle. You didn't cuss them out before they got to the school. You didn't go off on them before they got to this school. Listen to me closely, y'all. I'm telling you something as a parent, and then coming from as a child, and listening to some things that were passed to me, because I've changed. You weren't the one to place them in a position that they can't even get themselves out of. You don't believe how many of our kids come in here embarrassed because, watch this, even though marijuana is legal. Now watch this. They smell like they are not only marijuana users. Watch this. They are alcoholics or they're cigarette smokers. And then we have, watch this, interviewed and done a crisis thing with your child, because we finding weed in the bag, in their book bag, and it's not theirs. We finding alcohol. How they get into it? These are unnecessary pressures upon them, because here's the thing. Now, one thing needs to stand. What you do as grown folk, you do as grown folk, but hey, there's a line, there's a barrier. Keep your children out of that. And that, because when they come, they do not have the mental capacity. They don't have the capacity really to deal with that. And then we're wondering why they get into so much. And now we got to break all that up. We got to deal with all that. And so that's one of the things. And last but not least, our kids is under pressure because you under pressure. Mm-hmm. What are you doing for you? Mm-hmm. When the last time you went to a spa? Have you ever done that? Have you gotten a pedicure? Mm-hmm. Have you had taken out some time to just relax? You said you can't do it, but I promise you this. Listen to me close. If you talk to us, we can help you. There go Miss Norwood. We can help you. There go Miss Andrews. There go Miss man gonna break blank. Anderson and Miss Campbell. Here go our panel. Mr. Reese, we'll help you. Well, you gonna help pay for it? No, hold on.
You left my name out.
We gonna he fouled too much. All right, that's another conversation for another day. I just want you all to know that some of the pressure needs to come off of you. You need somebody to talk to. So while your child is talking to somebody, and you, like Mom said, I'm glad they got somebody. Who you got? Get somebody. Get somebody to help you out. Now, immediately following this, those of you all that's watching, if you would like more information, what have you, please comment in there. You can go ahead and what we'll do is we'll put the connections or pieces on how you can get further services such as therapy, different services. Some of them are providers themselves. And so we want to make sure we are helpful to you. Hopefully that y'all enjoyed this. Yes. And we'll do it again. All right. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all.